Namaste, doctor.
Namaste.
Till now we spoke about, or you spoke about, rather I asked the question and you spoke about, how do we take care of our physicality part of it, so that once we know what exactly is attacking us, if we take care of those things, we will be able to lead a more meaningful and a fulfilled life. That is one aspect of it, doctor. The most important aspect, what is bothering most of the people today, is somewhere most of us are unhappy about a lot of things, and mind gets triggered off with very small triggers also, and many of us are unable to balance the mind, how to keep it in balance. Maybe at the professional level it might be, or it might be at the personal level too. So if we are not happy within ourselves, I always feel body and mind are very much correlated. So could you throw a little light about the psychological part of our being, doctor?
So otherwise we call this as mind. Psychological self or psychological being, we call it as mind. What is mind? Mind is nothing but flow of thoughts.
Yes.
So if you go to the origin of mind, how the thoughts came into picture, like a newborn baby. If I show like this, can it identify you?
Nothing.
So the mind is past dependent.
Okay. Yes.
So it needs a flow inside, input.
Okay.
Input is required, then only the output
Will
in the form of thoughts.
Okay.
So basically, psychological being we develop after birth. So in a newborn baby or a intrauterine life, no mind. If you show a rifle or a tiger or a Rama or a Krishna or a Jesus Christ, it cannot identify.
No reaction.
That's why it is called a psychological. We have programmed, it only comes out. So today, this psychology is dominating. Yes. We become psychological beings rather than the normal holistic beings. Yes. We forget all other four beings.
Yes.
We are just stuck at the psychology.
Okay.
See, when we are born, we didn't have psychology at all. That we need to realize first. At birth, I am a pure being.
Yes.
Then became psychological being.
Yes.
So
the sad part, sorry doctor, the sad part is psychological beings and psychology is ruling us. Rather than, as you told in the intrauterine, we don't even know anything. But psychology is ruling us and ruining us also at the same time.
This awareness is required.
Yes.
This awareness, it is past dependent. The thoughts comes from what we have fed inside. That is, it's a computer where we feed so many thoughts and so many things, parents will teach certain things, schools will teach certain things, ecosystem will teach certain things. So we are trapped there.
Okay.
So if we are able to aware of that, that education is important. So today we are into stress and so much of anxiety, depression, so many things 30% of population are facing is because they are thinking they are psychology.
Yes.
What is being fed inside.
Yes.
So, but reality is we are pure beings without that. Once if we bring the past, then the fear, the suffering, stress, anxiety, imagination,
Yes.
all these things because of the mind only.
Memory, everything.
Everything is because of the psychology. So we need to develop certain lifestyle to improve this psychological self. So what are all the lifestyles? There are few things in life we need to accept what is now.
Yes.
We need to come to the terms of present.
Yes.
And then we need to understand that there is a being inside and we need to be psychological being understanding itself will bring pure being inside. The psychology will not dominate.
Okay.
Then we need to understand the contents. What is the content of outer present? What is the content of outer self and inner self? Out of that, once if you understand those two, we develop the wholeness and contentment will come. The contentment will come.
Okay, okay.
So then the mind comes down.
Okay, okay.
Compassion comes into picture, naturally.
Yes.
Because whole thing is you.
Yes.
If you look at the Earth from a little space station,
Yes.
there is no Nagamani, no Shashidhar, no tree. It's just a one.
Absolutely.
Like that, we are all one actually. That being, or like how Earth appears different from the nearest vision. But if you further go away from the Earth, it appears one. The reality is one, only one Earth.
Yes.
And it is one dust in this whole cosmos.
Absolutely.
So it's not simply like that, psychologically we are bringing this. No. This is the truth.
Yes.
That we say eco-self, that I'll come to the next this thing. So it's very important to develop first to avoid all these psychological problems. Like stress, depression, anxiety, stress,
yes.
So many things. So to avoid that, we need to develop certain healing factors like acceptance, then being in the present, then compassion, contentment, then flexibility. Then we need to have few, way of life lifestyle, where we need to develop, requirement-based life or need-based, not the want-based.
Yes.
Because psychology wants that, this, that,
Yes.
so many things.
Yes.
So that is also very important.
Okay.
We need to have happiness. We can have a holistic happiness. I think we are going to discuss that as that video series continues.
Yes.
Where we can derive happiness from the outside world, inside world, truth outside, truth inside, outer self and inner self both together. We call it that as holistic happiness. Then we need to develop certain things like flexibility. So forgiveness, that makes a big difference.
Yes.
Because if you are not away from the past, you are caught up in the mind.
Yes.
If you are not away from the imagination or expectation, again you are caught up in the mind.
And it ruins. Basically, the mental well-being is totally ruined because of all these things. So as you say, once we realize, so I think self-realization becomes very important. Once that realization happens, naturally we stay away from anger, depression, stress, anxiety, and in those places compassion, love, and all these things come into picture. And I think we will be always in a better world, in a happier world.
Definitely, because there I want to stress upon one more thing. This we call it as holistic psychological self also. It has its wholeness. Even the thoughts, if you go back, it is just a programmed one. From where the source, Chitta Kasha we say, its thought or the energy or waves also arises from the inner self, the being. So basically, the holistic way we need to look at the psychological being.
Okay.
Because psychology is outside, being is inside. The psychology, the thought, wave pattern, everything is outside.
Yes.
So if we go deep inside, it's made up of same 99.999 empty like space.
Yes.
That's why our people used to call that as a Chitta Kasha. We need to see the empty like atomic stuff in the Chitta also. So we need to go to the Planck level. Planck is 10 to the power of 44, If you put in front of 10, 44 zeros,
Okay.
that in 1 second, if you divide that amount,
Okay.
it becomes a frozen
State.
state where there is no thoughts. Thoughts needs at least some microseconds.
Yes.
Microseconds comes in
Yes.
thousands.
Yes, yes,
Or, so probably, if you go deeper, it's a where the thought means the efferent. It takes little time to go there,
Yes.
analyze, and
And
comes
then-
out.
yes.
So we are basically thoughtless beings, but we are programmed so much. We get caught and we say we are all psychological beings.
Okay.
So if you understand deeply, we are all psychologically programmed, and we see only the upper level, the inside level, the Planck level, or little picoseconds or attoseconds. If you go, we are all frozen in the real true nature, which is just a being, or we call it as inner self.
Okay. So I think
It's a deeper aspect. I don't
yes.
know how much.
I know. Honestly, because this is one thing that most of the humanity is suffering today with respect to science. Of course, science has developed so much. It has got your answers, everything. But I think we are not utilizing it in the right way. As you say, it is programmed. The moment we realize at birth we don't have anything, but everything comes later on, we start feeling that later on is the reality. So as you say, doctor, our past is what makes our present, and what we give today makes our future. So whether it is at the physical level or the mental level, so we need to take care of what we put inside. The one thing that we need to remember always is that we are just not the periphery. We are the deep core inside.
That's the absolute state, in fact. Because the whole outer self, whatever we experience as body, mind, emotions, our ecosystem, that's all if ultimately made up of same atomic stuff. That we call it as inner self. So it's one and the same. It's a oneness, absoluteness.
Absolutely. Now, what I try and understand.
That's why they used to call it as Maya outside.
Maya only. I think it is definitely
It's illusion.
Maya. It's definitely an illusion and we feel the illusion is the reality. And that is the saddest part. I think this will be an eye-opener for us to, delve deep inside to find out that what we have programmed is not the reality. It is just, recycled garbage what we are using in our life. And our true nature is not about all these things. So I think very beautifully told, Doctor. Thank you so much to enlightening us about, how important it is to take care of the mind. Of course, even before I wind up, I should ask you this question, Doctor, because I don't want to wind up before asking this question. Yes, we have a lot of muck inside. Because of the muck, we suffer also. Now, how do we realize, once we realize, how do we, take care, or how do we enhance ourselves to become better psychological beings, Doctor? What do we do? Do we meditate? How do we do it?
So we need to understand that mind comes into picture only when it is past. It goes back to the past. And with imagination or, the future comes into picture.
Yes.
The reality is in the present, where there is no mind at all. Okay, that we need to understand. Past is history.
Yes.
If we keep on dwelling on that, it creates a trouble.
Absolutely.
It creates bad and sad memories, traumas.
More of a suffering.
So many things, suffering.
Yes.
Anxiety it brings when we are imagining.
Future.
Fear comes into picture when we are imagining. So once if we are able to understand these two together, either you need to be, if you are in the past or in the future, you will suffer. If you are in the present, that's why living in the present makes a difference. That is the solution to overcome all my psychological problems.
Issues. So, living in the present, life is pleasant, is what Dr. Shashidhar has got to offer us. So, thank you so much,
Thank you.
Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you.